We'll talk about music. We'll talk about Beyonce.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That was he wanted the first thing he said.
Yeah.
He said she's a super fan.
We'll talk Beyonce. We'll talk. You are.
We'll talk Beyonce.
Ben told me that when you were getting ready for the concert, it's like you was getting ready for the Super Bowl. That's what
Ben
he.
can shut the fuck
That's
up.
what he told me. He was like, bro. He was like, she would ask me every 5 minutes,
That's what Ben could do.
babe. He was like, oh.
I am a founding member of the Beehive. Okay, original.
So I know. I do
Original
my
member.
research. I do my research.
I don't take any Beyonce slander.
There hasn't been any on this platform so far. I'm just asking again. When I ask the question, is because
We open to critiques, not slander.
Oh yeah. And the only person that's above reproach is the man upstairs.
Okay.
Like,
You
yeah,
gotta
that's
tune
it.
in, right?
Everybody else, you're human. You know.
Hey, we just soldiers on a mission. Turn the volume up, tune in to the vision. Spitting every episode, ain't no skipping. Put your mans on, he ain't hear it, then he tripping. And you know you gotta listen to the Ransom report. Hey, it's the Ransom report. Said you know you gotta listen to the Ransom report. It's the Ransom report. Now what you thought? Yeah.
The Ransom Report, powered by What's the Movement, joined by the Venerable Sheik. I am Mr. Ransom. Sheik,
What up?
episode 3.
Yes. What a good feeling. What
What a feeling, sir. I'm very, as always, peace and blessings be upon you, sir.
Absolutely. Likewise. Right back at you.
How's everything?
Everything's great, grand, wonderful.
This is the program that provides you with intellectual entertainment via podcast. For today's episode, we are joined by, how do I address you? I have the CPO of Nina Lem's
you've
Party,
been doing your research.
and how I know her, Curie.
You can call me Curie.
Curie, it's lovely to see you again.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here.
So, you know, I've known you a long time.
You have 15
And
years.
I've always supported your business endeavors. You know, I used to love Sweetly Chic.
Oh, thank you.
Before we get started, though, the name Nina Lems, explain that for us, please.
Nina Lems is melanin spelled backwards. So we used to be called, once upon our first business name was called Melanin Cake. For like the first maybe 6 months to a year of our business. And then I wanted something a little bit more artsy.
Did you have it out, like actually out, or that was just the working title?
Nope, yep, it was Melanin Cake, maybe for like the first like 6 months, like six months to a year, no longer than a year. And then I just wanted something a bit more artsy. And my friend and I helped my friend at a BuzzFeed event, and someone there had like an eyewear brand that was spelled backwards. And she was like, why don't you spell melanin backwards? And I was like, oh my gosh, there it is. So Nina Lem's Party was born.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. You guess you saw my face. Mind blown.
So you didn't do that much because it is on our website.
No, I read it. That's how I know you're the chief party officer and everything. I know. I guess I must have missed that.
That's
Psychologically,
Totally fine. It's a little stle innuendo. I like to put in there. Yeah.
It does sound better. Melanin cake sounds like like makeup.
Okay.
Like, oh, this is it. Why don't you put some melanin cake on? But that could be problematic.
Okay.
I could see where that could be problematic. So I kind of want to begin with Sweetly Chic.
Oh Lord. PTSD.
It's like your first. Was that your first official business adventure?
It was.
Okay, I kind of feel like it was, and I went to the Freehold Mall many a time, and I never saw you. But that means that you were off busy doing other things. Yeah, no,
that was intentional.
Why?
I never wanted to be in the front because, like, at first it was cool, you know, like getting to talk and interact with people. And I love people. I love talking to people. But then when you have the pressures, I feel like, of trying to, like, you're baking fresh cupcakes and cakes every single day. Like, I can't be in charge of the baking and the logistics and then also be the forefront and be the customer service. So that's when we started to hire out and like have people there. Like there's no way that I could have maintained baking everything we had to bake. We were in a shopping mall. So there's no way I could have maintained baking everything I had to bake and then also be out there on the cash register. I mean, I was when I needed to be,
sure,
but for the most part, no.
Yeah, it was, I could tell it was a Herculean effort by you because I would talk with your significant other just very topically, like how's everything going, and he would always say, you know, it's hard work, it's exhausting, and it's almost like having a child.
Yeah,
Is-
absolutely. I think any business, like if you're in it, I think any business is like this. I will always say, Sweetly Chic was my first baby. Like, absolutely,
Okay.
1000% agree.
So you did that straight out of no, but
No.
you were working at an investment firm or something?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
okay.
out of college, straight out of college, I worked at Commvault. That was my first job out of college. Commvault is maybe like 10 minutes from here. It's like a database management company. And I was a telemarketer. They had me on the phone, child. I was on the phones, cold calling people. I was making $12 an hour, which at the time I was like, yes. But now I'm just like, really? Like, they need to be brought up on charges. Because why were you paying people $12 an hour? Like, that's nothing.
Well,
But
what year was this? Okay.
No,
Some years ago.
no, I'm going to tell you. This was 2012.
Okay.
This was 2012. So I did that. And then I got an opportunity to work at Merrill Lynch and kind of just took it. And the rest is history. I worked at Merrill in Hopewell for a while. Then I went to the city. I was at One Bryant Park. I was at our U.S. Trust division. And then while I was there, I had Sweetly Chic like part-time. So I did it part-time, just like making cakes sort of on the side, doing events, things like that. And then I sort of pursued the kiosk. It was originally going to be just like a kiosk opportunity. And then being in the mall, they were like, hey, we have an inline store available. Do you want to take it? It was like the same rent. I was like, sure. And the rest is history.
It was the same rent.
It was, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Mhm.
How was dealing with them, Freehold Mall?
You mean like management at Freehold?
Yeah.
You know, looking back on it now, I think that certain things were done because they knew that malls were dying at that time. So when we first came in, we were like the only dessert kind of like niche dessert place. So
Yeah.
besides like Mrs. Fields and Annie Ann's, like the stuff that they normally have in there. By the time we left the mall, I think there were like 8 dessert brands in the mall. So, and they were all in like higher placement areas. Like when you're in the mall, everything is about placement. Like where you're located, they charge you
Yes.
rent based on where you're located. So we
Yes.
were kind of in the cut by Macy's, but that worked cool at first because, you know,
You
we
get
were
a
the
lot of
only
random
dessert
traffic
place.
going
Right.
to Macy's and into
Right. But then when we had to compete with more dessert brands in larger traffic areas, it just didn't make sense. At the time, I think it was important for me to be what I needed to be when I needed to be it. And that's why this business, Nina Lems, is so important to me, because our mission is to party unapologetically and to live life authentically and to show up as your authentic self in all situations. So you can code switch if you want to. You don't have to code switch. But to your point, I don't always give aggressive, you know?
No, I wouldn't.
yeah.
I wouldn't even say aggressive. Like you have, I love your energy. Like but you and I have always had a good rapport.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've always,
Charles, you know I love you. Come
No,
on.
and
And I
I-
don't like you. Come on.
I love you. But I think one of the things that I admire about you is your business kind of matches who you are as a person. Like I could see
Thank
you
you.
doing something like this. Just like with the Sheik, like the Sheik's businesses are a reflection of him, especially the bully business.
Absolutely. Oh,
You can see the reflection of him in the business. I don't think that that's by design. I think that's just because the two of you are allowing yourselves to be yourself. And we talked about this on the last podcast, like reaching a state where you can just be yourself unapologetically is like a state of nirvana. It's such a state of
Right.
peace and center. So I think when you try to make a business, a lot of people try to highlight their attributes and like put the things that they want to work on to the side. But I don't think you should do that. I think you should be who you are, and I think the right people will subscribe to your whatever you're selling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think it has anything to do with color or gender. I think if you are who you are and you kind of are the same with everyone, I think the right people respect that. You know, I was reading the mission statement, and when you put code switching in there, I said, yeah, I was like, we talked about this on other episodes. But I like what you put under that. You said you're choosing to be, you don't have to be. And I didn't take that as negative. I took that as it's a choice. Life is a
Right.
choice.
Right. You do what you like. To live unapologetically means to live in your truth and to live in your own decision making. And if you choose to code switch, I'm not like, for example, I'm not going to be the ratchet person I am in the club at my corporate job, right? But I can still be both people,
Sure.
right? So I think that sometimes people think that, oh, if you're, a doctor or an attorney, you have to just be this person, right? Like this is just who you are and you can't have fun and you can't turn up with your girls on the weekend and be ratchet. Like that's why we caught so much shit for our, I can curse on here, right?
Yes.
Okay. We caught so much shit for our educated AF twerk toppers. A lot, I call them the hoteps. A lot of the hoteps was in our comments like, oh, you're encouraging stigmas among
Wait, hoteps?
I love that.
Them
that.
Dr. Umar,
I love
all of them,
Oh.
them Black Israelite, power to the people, all of them.
Yeah, Dr. Umar.
So a lot of them were in our
he's
comments.
an interesting guy. He's a character, is how
A broken clock is right twice a day, and that's what I'll say. I'll leave that there with Dr. Umar. And we caught so much shit for that because it was like, oh, you're encouraging stigmas among Black women and this and it's like, first of all, not only Black women like are our customers, so like that's what is crazy to me, that people just assume that. But then also like, okay, because I got my degree, because I got my BSN or I'm an attorney, I can't twerk, like I can't turn up with my friends. Like no, like we're not a monolith. Like I can do whatever I would like to do. So yeah, we put a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, I definitely try to have, and again, when you look on your social media, it's not just one demographic.
No.
Do you find that I don't think you would have a stigma with that, because like the Sheik and I always talk, 2024, I feel like the world is such a melting pot now because of social media. But I could see even if you didn't have your picture up there, I would hope, like reading the website stuff, I'd be like, well, I hope this isn't.
Absolutely.
I hope this isn't
Yeah, no.
someone
and I
being
think,
a culture vulture right now. 'Cause that would be bad.
And that was one of the reasons why I started the business too, was to kind of take back some of our terms. Like I would go on Etsy in different places and see like she said yes or things like that. And it's like, you don't even know what that means. Like you are just putting it up there because you think it's cool or you see it in pop culture. And I always say that Black culture is pop culture. We start the trends. Every one of these like popular trends that start with us, like our products are mimicked a lot. Like we were like, and it's like a lot of things are fair game, right? Like I'm not like, you're inspired, you get inspiration from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, like one of the products we were doing like 2 years ago was like, it's giving whatever, like for graduation, like it's giving BSN, because at the time that was the trendy thing that Black people were saying,
It's
it's giving. Now all of the other people are on it, and now they're just getting on the trend, and now they're doing all these things. It's giving wife, it's giving whatever. When we were on it 2 years ago, now we're on to the next thing, right? As a culture, like as a people.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we set the trends and sometimes it's always followed. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start this, was to kind of like own our own sayings and own our own decor, like just own our own products kind of.
It's the for us bias mentality, but
Yeah.
for everyone bias.
Yeah, exactly.
everyone,
Like
because
we don't discriminate. Checks still clear the same.
The check will always
The
clear the
checks
same.
still clear the same.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm very careful. Like we toe the line, but I don't ever cross it. Like I'm very, very careful. Even the way that like our products are photographed, I'm very careful about the imagery that we use, because, home of the original twerk party decor, but I don't ever want that to be stigmatized and be like, oh, it's this thing that only Black women do and Black women are twerking on the cars and stuff like that. Like I
Gotcha.
want it to be something that all people do. So I'm very, very careful about our imagery and the way that we project
I think
different things.
I think you have to be
Yeah.
in 2024. I mean, we live in a visual age, with visual first. Like if it doesn't look good, it's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
I don't know, like especially like Sheik, you're in a business where your business is haircuts and bullies, so you have to be on point from the rip.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if the haircut don't look good, it's definitely not going to fly. You know what I mean? And it's same thing with the dogs. I just seen something recently where they were having a stack off, like,
Stack off.
yeah, that's when you place your dogs and see who has the best looking dog. But what they're starting to introduce now is having people make their dogs walk. Because what a lot of people are doing with some of these dogs, they're like, some of the dogs are so overdone They walk crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you out here winning awards, your dog needs to be functional, it needs to be healthy, and then it still got to look like a crazy bull. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And sometimes people are getting away with just having literally fucked up dogs, and people are wanting to breed to these dogs because they want to get the freaky look, but the dog's whole back end is messed up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, the visual has to be there and it has to make sense.
I saw that. So on TikTok, maybe like 2 weeks ago, something was going viral. There was some type of dog breeding convention or something, and people were showing all their different crazy breeds, and like people were breeding. There was like a French bulldog, like Yorkie mix, for
fluffy
English,
Frenchies, fluffy
like,
Frenchies.
What is it called?
The fluffy Frenchie, and
some of them, like in the face, you like, is this dog okay? Like, is everything? Is he on there?
Is this dog okay?
Like, do he know where he at? Like, because a lot of times, like, they be looking a little crazy in the face, and you like, should you be breeding those? Like, it's almost like do you do that, like the co-breeding of like the different dog breeds, or you just do the
well, I do the exotic bullies. So the exotic bullies at one point was a combination of different breeds.
Okay.
But that particular breed has been being bred for such a long time. Now it is its own breed.
Okay.
But a lot of people now are creating, just like people do with the Yorkie poos and
A Yorkie poo?
yeah, Yorkie poos and cockadoodles and all these other,
A Yorkie
you know, all of
poodle.
these new like toy dogs. Basically, what I call them is they're exotic mutts. I mean, because it's just mixing breeds together. But there are real breeders out there that are creating dogs that are like fascinating. Like I've seen fluffy Frenchies, and I seen them like, the dog is this damn big. I'm like, that's not no Frenchie. You bought the dog out too soon. You still got a couple more generations to go before you should bring that dog outside. And then I've seen fluffy Frenchies that amaze me. Like, damn, like
There's
you
this
hit that on the button.
There's this one dog that I wanted to ask you about a long time ago. Now that we're talking about it, it wasn't on TikTok. I don't have TikTok.
What?
That's another story. That's
You don't have TikTok. You don't.
I don't
Lord.
TikTok. I'm not plugged in. I'm not plugged into the Matrix. China will not know what I'm doing.
Lord.
But that's a whole.
China will not know what I'm doing.
They're trying to shut it down right now.
China don't care.
I love it.
They don't. You're right.
China
You're absolutely right. Lindsay, could you look up the there's like the world's biggest pit bull or something? Like
Talking about Hulk.
It might be Hulk. Is that because of the breeding, or is that because, like, you know how in humans every once in a while you might get a Yao Ming,
Well, nah,
you might get a Shaq,
that dog was definitely created. Like that dog was created. And
right.
Absolutely, and a lot of times people just don't know dogs. I see people all the time walking around with dogs, and they tell me, oh, or I'll speak to somebody and they're like, oh, I got a pit. You got to see it, and then I'll see the dog, and it'll be this 70, 80-pound dog. It's not a pit bull. You know what I mean? A true American pit bull terrier. Those dogs are like 35 to 47 pounds at heaviest, shaped like a greyhound if taken care of properly, longer muzzle like a greyhound. Like, if I showed you a picture of a pit bull, it probably wouldn't be what you think. You know what I mean?
Probably wouldn't.
Because a lot of people have American bullies and they call everything a pit bull. People see my dogs be like, oh, you breed pit bulls. My dog doesn't look anything like a pit bull, but people don't know what pit bulls look like.
It's just a common misconception.
Super.
Yeah.
He's right. It's a Hulk.
It's a Hulk. Yeah, that dog was.
176 pounds. Stands
Yes.
6 feet tall, almost.
Yeah.
I saw.
What is this? What is
It's like
this?
it's
Apparently the world's biggest pit bull.
Oh wow.
He's supposed to be
stand
a pit
6
bull.
feet tall.
Wow.
I'm 6'1.5", so he'd be
Like 6 feet on 2 legs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's crazy funny.
He's not like
Okay.
Like 6 feet.
He'd be
on
like a
two
camel.
legs.
He'd be like a,
Okay. I
yeah.
was like, what kind of horse?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, but yo, listen, Hulk is a dope dog. He's been putting some dope puppies out there. His owner is the truth. Like, he spends a lot of time with those dogs. He invests in his dogs, like very well trained. Like, he did his thing. He's been on television shows, so he's getting to the bag.
You do what you love and you never really work a day in your life, is what I heard. I don't know if that's true, because there is such thing as just having bad days. But even with you, Curie, like, looking on your website and looking on like your Instagram, I could tell like you are in a place, your energy is like you love what you're doing. And it's got to be hard. It's got to be
yes, of
hard
course.
being a, and again, I don't care what year it is, it'll always be hard for a female to really succeed and take off in big corporate America. we have come a long way, but we haven't come nearly far enough yet. That's what people always say. Because that's the big thing now. It's like, oh, we've made so many strides. Come on. Stop living the past. No, yes, that's a fact. We have come a long way, but we have so much farther to go. And I think it's because like I have a good relationship with my mother and my sister, and even Lindsay. I look at like a sister, and I've always admired what you stood for.
Thank you.
I always do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes when you're in it, you can't really see. So I appreciate that.
I think that that's good though. Like you're not giving yourself your flowers. You should take stock in your own success. It should never be like, I hate the guy who's always like, your first million. Oh, well, I it's on to the next. It's like, no, you should you smell your own roses.
I'm that way. Oh my gosh, I am.
Wait,
I'm my
the way I'm
worst.
saying, or the other way, like it's always about the next thing.
No, it's always about the next thing. I can never. That's like a flaw. I probably need to go to therapy. Like that's like a major flaw of mine. And I think it comes from being honestly a Sagittarius. We're very ambitious people. I'm never like, whenever I hit a goal, it's like, okay, on to the next. Like, okay, that was great. On to the next thing. Like I can never sit in it. Yeah.
I always say like, give yourself the gift
Grace
of breath. Like give yourself the gift of a breath. You got to give yourself the grace give yourself the gift of a breath. It took a year to get from where we're sitting here from the inception.
Wow.
Could have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
I could have done it 6 months ago, but it just wasn't ready. It just wasn't like I didn't have the right people. I didn't have the right equipment. I didn't have the inspiration yet to do what I felt that I was born to do, like what God set me on the path to do.
Right.
I feel now sitting here that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, that's great. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's like God has a process for you, and He's gonna work on His own time, on His own clock.
That's right.
But you say signs, like you're a Sagittarius.
I am.
How much stock do you really put in astrological signs?
So I definitely believe in like the character traits because I've seen it. I've seen it like time and time again. But I don't believe in like the daily horoscopes. I don't believe that what's happening to me today is also going to happen to John in like Wisconsin. Like I don't believe stuff like that.
Okay,
but
good.
definitely the character traits, like absolutely.
Okay. So you could tell me, are you like well versed in them or only in yours?
A little, not really. I know mine. I know Ben's. Like I'm not too.
Okay, see, I'm
I know my dad's, my mom's, like Leo's.
I'm a Virgo.
I was about to say I'm a Leo, and you don't even.
Okay.
When you're a Leo, you don't even have to know yours because everybody gonna tell you.
Okay.
Okay. See,
yes. My mom is
She
probably
Leo.
listening. Hey, Ma.
She a Leo.
Yes.
So
a Leo through and through.
What are some of the characteristics of a Leo then?
Bossy.
Okay.
Don't never think she wrong about anything. Am I talking about you? Is that you?
I'm listening.
Okay. Don't never think she wrong about anything. Bossy? I said bossy. What else? Controlling.
Sounds like my dad. But to be honest with you, it's like, you sure that there's not a couple of those for Sagittarius?
She gonna cuss me out when she hears this. She's gonna cuss.
Bossy doesn't get used on me, but controlling is a word I've heard before.
Okay.
Like and not controlling from a platform of I'm trying to control you and direct you, but I need to be in control of all my shit.
Listen, people hate you for the same things they love you for. So people are going to critique you for being controlling, but like, would you have this and be where you are if you weren't controlling and you didn't have that extra little that extra little attention to detail type thing? So yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes controlling, you have to have control of your controlling, because sometimes it'll work against you and it becomes overthinking.
I'm an overthinker. I almost bought a desk artwork yesterday that said, excuse me while I overthink this, because I overthink everything.
What?
Everything.
There's a fine line between overthinking and
crazy.
Calculated risks.
Okay, I'm a Virgo, so I feel like I'm naturally by Virgo. I don't know. I'm not as well versed in what a Virgo's about.
I don't know too much about Virgo.
I just know that they tend to worry about things and internalize things, and I feel like it has something to do with like the god of like a stomach ache or something like that. Like,
the god of a stomach
or
ache
something like
crazy.
that. Something like that. And I am a chronic worrier. So yeah, like I've never, but
Me too.
You know what bothers me though? Like when I'll read stuff on social media, and then somebody will do something that's not that great, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, that's true Capricorn man," and I'm
Yeah,
like,
no,
well, I was
like
like,
that-
well, how the hell?
Right. That's just who
So-
you are.
Yeah, so only Capricorn. So all right, so I'm not a Capricorn, so you can't
Right.
put that on me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh,
It's like,
of
that's
course he
just who you
cheated on
are.
you because he's a Gemini. It's like, well, wait. So who isn't a cheater then?
Right.
So go marry one of them then. Like, and when he
Right.
cheats on you, what's the? So you put stock in it, but not like to the
No,
letter.
absolutely. I think you'd be crazy as hell. Like, you crazy. Like, no. Like, a lot of things is just who you are, your experiences, your environment. But character traits, with anything I've seen about a Sagittarius, generally, I'm like, okay, that's me.
Okay, all right. So I guess I have to put some more. I guess I got to put some more
You
thought
should.
into it.
You should.
But again, like I'm not big on stigmas and stereotypes, and I think that's a byproduct of the way I grew up, because like I kind of had to toe two different lines simultaneously.
Okay.
Like it's a hard.
What do
it's
you mean by that?
Well, I mean, there's times
He
where
said, well,
it's kind of like a maze. It's
Okay.
like a minefield, especially growing up, because you're learning about yourself and how you fit into the world. And then it's only until I got older that I realized I just need to be my own man.
Yep. Be yourself.
Like I need to be myself. But identity was something I struggled with my whole life internally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's like you never really fit in fully to any one
Mm-hmm.
group, you know. And I'm not saying like the guys I grew up with, because they were all, you know, for the most part,
Yeah,
they
no,
were
I've
great.
heard that from other biracial people.
Yeah,
before,
it's tough.
So you can be pro-black and still love your mother, love that side of your family. Pro-black is not synonymous with being anti-white.
You're right, but you're right, and I respect what you're saying. But just being pro-black sometimes I feel like is too misconstrued.
It
So
is.
yeah, so I do agree. I do agree with you on that.
put some great words. You put super, pro, and black together. I had a whole image in my head of you as a superhero with a cape and shit
Well,
on.
thank you. No,
Dr. Charles Umar.
no,
Dr. Charles Umar.
Dr. Charles Umar.
no,
I'm
not
done.
not
I'm
Dr.
done out
Umar.
here.
No, I see with Dr.
Dr.
Umar.
Umar Charles Johnson.
No, Dr. Umar. The one thing I'll say about him, and I have an issue with anybody that discounts and has negative things to say about my very existence, like an interracial person. He said some very he's said some very not nice things about that, and that is who I am as a human being. That's one of his like talking points. Yeah, and I
You
just
need to be
can't.
talking about that damn school he done took everybody money for, and don't have no school, no foundation, no cement, no bricks,
No cement.
no door, no hinges,
No
no nothing. But he been
cement.
building the Marcus Garvey School of Education
The Marcus
for 15
Garvey,
years.
Malcolm X, Malcolm King, Coretta, like.
That's what
No
he please talk
cement.
about.
So, but yeah, like, yeah, Umar, if you're gonna build a school, build a school. Stop doing these fun drives. I don't want to buy your cookies.
It's still drives going on.
Maybe he stopped. Maybe he's got the funds he needs. We need to see something, man.
We
All right.
ain't seen a doorknob.
So all right. So when did you start melanin? Dude, I feel so stupid because I love crossword puzzles, and for me not to get what Nina Lems really meant is bothering me.
Okay.
It was right there in front of my face this
it's
whole
subtle.
time, Kyrie.
It's meant to be subtle, you know? It's meant to be like artsy, not in your face, but like, you know, kind of got to dig a little deeper. Every time I tell people, they're like, oh.
You are how many years into this venture now?
August will be 5.
August will be 5. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've been doing really well.
Yeah.
You've been doing
Blessed.
really, really. Oh,
I need to know what Nina Lems is.
Oh, so we're a statement party decor brand. So we inspire people to live unapologetically through party decor. So we provide really anything you can think of for a party: banners, balloons, confetti, cupcake toppers, cake toppers. And what's different about us is that most of our products are rooted in hip hop or pop culture or pop music, really inspired by social media. A lot. We cater more to a trendier audience, so more so millennials, Gen Z. So like, whereas you might go in Party City and find a balloon banner that says "Congrats, grad," ours would say "I understood the assignment." You know, like we kind of cater more toward, you know, just different. We want it to be different. You know, I wanted to create party decor that I would like to see in stores, and I wanted people to feel seen. In party decor, and I just felt like that wasn't happening. When I walked into Party City and Walmart, I was just kind of bored with what I was seeing, so I wanted to create something fun and on trend. Most importantly, on trend.
On trend?
Yes. So staying on top of the trend. So like, as I mentioned, I understood the assignment, right? Like that's a balloon banner that we did for graduation. So
Yeah.
like trends with pop culture, trends with like, as I mentioned, it's giving, right? Like that was a trend that
Oh,
was
okay,
popular.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you being someone, okay. I find that it's so hard to keep up with trends these days because
Yes, it
they're
is.
evolving.
That's why we succeed.
So how do you stay? How do you really keep your finger on the
Yeah.
pulse?
So I eat, sleep, and breathe social media. I am a stickler for pop culture. I'm TikTok down, deep in
You
TikTok.
TikTok down to the ground?
Down.
TikTok head. Always on social media, always on the shade room, always keep my ear to the streets. It's becoming a little bit harder as I get older. I'm not gonna lie, because these Gen Zs, like every time I turn around, it's a new saying for something.
It's almost like
what
pop
were they abbreviate everything, and I'm like, okay. Like,
But now they're abbreviating things that don't need to be
no,
abbreviated.
like I saw something on social media that was like, hey, to all people 30 and up, they using something for this now. I'm like, okay, thank you for letting me know, because I'm like, what be going on? But no, I keep my ear to the streets, and I scroll through comments. I'm deep in the comments. I'm giving away a lot of mine.
Yo, comments is
I know
my favorite
a lot of my
stuff.
secrets now, but no, I keep my ear to the streets.
If I see the right thing posted up, I'm going right to the comments.
Yes,
and I'm
'cause
on
the
them for
comments be
like,
better
yo, comedy.
post. Okay.
I'm on the comments for like 30 minutes.
Okay, comments be better than the post.
And then I'm DMing people like, go to the comments.
Yep.
Like, I forget what I sent you. Just go to the comments. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I was wondering how you did it, but if you do that, kudos to you. You're keeping your ears to the streets. What about, I hate this. You know what? This is actually great because we had a topic on the first episode, and I even said I didn't have a female's perspective on this, and Lindsay wasn't here that night. So real quick, we're going to, Diddy.
Diddy.
What about him?
Okay, so we were, see,
What you want to talk about?
I gotta feel like he
Where
was
is
long
Dream?
time
Where is the group?
coming.
Where is 112? Like, why 112 broke up? Where them people money at? Like, let's go.
I kind of feel like I feel like he was trying to leave the country.
So, for example, I don't know if you remember this. This was probably before you knew me. I used to be a huge Trey Songz fan. I would travel the highways and byways to go to Trey Songz concerts. Like, I loved Trey Songz. Like, love Trey Songz. I have not listened to his music in a number of years because I just feel like at this point, everybody can't be lying. You know, like it's too many. Every time I turn around, somebody else coming out, something else is happening. Somebody got you on a video doing something. And so I have not listened to Trey Songz music in a very, very long time. I feel like for me, when people say, oh, you can separate the music, that's not true. Like, why are you listening to R. Kelly? Like he was talking about, like, Bump and Grind was about a child. Like, why are we listening? Like, what are you doing?
And I think it depends on who you are as well,
That's
because for me, I'm the same way. Like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong
Yes.
listening to R. Kelly.
Right.
Right?
It's about your
yeah.
character,
I feel like
right?
I'm doing something wrong. But then there's always that one song, and I'm like, dang, my favorite song, him and Jay-Z. What's that song? You
Body
and
Yaddy?
me
Oh, no.
having sex
Okay.
after an argument.
I remember that
Yo,
song. Yeah.
I gotta not like that. That's one of my favorite songs in the world.
They say Jay next. They say
I
Jay.
keep hearing
You
that
better
too.
not say that because that's your man's.
I know. I've been talking. He don't want to hear it. He don't want to hear
That's
it.
your man's.
Damn,
They say Jay next.
if
You
Jay-Z,
don't want to hear. He
They say
didn't
Jay.
want to hear it in the group checks
Jay-Z.
either. Yeah, nah, it's like you said with like music. It's like there's so many songs. Like R. Kelly was one thing, so I was like, man, like you have that song. I don't know what that song is, but mine was
that
a
song
woman's
was
threat.
fire.
Remember that song? The woman's threat song.
I probably heard it.
off TP2.com.
I probably heard it. But that song right there about having an argument and then that song was fire.
Hey, listen, he has a great catalog, but again, like, all right, well, I'm not listening
Then
to the
all of
music.
the
anymore.
Ron Isley and R. Kelly. And Ron Isley is like my favorite old head.
I love that. I love Ron Isley.
I love Ron Isley too.
When
But
I saw him on the Verses, I'll never forget. Did you watch the Verses with him?
I didn't see that.
You have to see
yeah, I
it.
watched it.
I'll never forget. We were watching it, and Ben was like, "Where's Ronald Isley?" I was like, "That's him right there," because he looks good.
Yeah,
Like
keeps it together.
he has aged very well. He looks great. That's that young
He does.
woman. That's that young wife.
That's a young
Keeping
wife.
him-
That's
yeah,
what that
his
does.
wife is like
Not only that, but he has like a super unique look. He don't look like
Yes.
a lot of
no,
people.
the beard,
So, you know what I mean?
like the salt and pepper beard.
I will say one thing about Ron Isley.
He's a zaddy. What is he?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Listen,
he's a
I
zaddy
would
with a
want to
Z.
be half as cool as Ron Isley by the time I could get senior citizen
The
discounts.
cane, like all of it.
with the sunglasses,
fur,
he always wears the
mink,
sunglasses.
Like everything. When people say they want a sugar daddy, that's what they talking about. They not
Ron
talking about
Isley.
these other ones that
Ron.
want
Mr.
some
Biggs,
sugar.
Mr. Biggs.
They talking about that
Ron.
type of
Listen,
that
Mr.
type of sugar
Biggs.
daddy.
Mr. Biggs.
They ain't
But
talking about
I'm
them,
telling
them
you
other
right
ones that
now.
wearing
I'm trying to remember
diapers.
that song.
P. Diddy, R. Kelly. Listen, if Jay-Z go down, that's gonna really hurt me. That's gonna bother me
That's gonna bother me
because
too.
I just don't expect that from him.
he plays.
You
no,
said that with so much vigor.
Nobody's
I
right.
don't expect
Mean
that
it.
from him.
No, but
Nobody's
expect that from
but
him,
he's.
man.
I agree with him as a man because
Damn.
there's certain people like a Trey Songz, and I know what you're talking about with Trey Songz. When you get a guy like the Sheik was saying, what'd you say, Sheik? You were like, oh, when R. Kelly had that concert, and he said, "Do y'all have
Oh
your
my
shots?"
gosh.
What'd you say? I was like,
Do
When
you
he was-
have your pet? That one?
Yeah.
Did you get your
just
shots?
Do you want to
Go
come
back
back
with
to
Rob
America? Or
to
something?
America.
Yes.
I was
Do
like, I
you
should have
have
known
your
then.
shots?
I don't remember that concert.
And this was in
Listen.
like Ethiopia.
Yeah,
or
That's
he
what
something.
he
was
was saying.
in Africa, and he was singing. Do you have your shots? Do
Did you get your shots?
Yeah. Do you
Who
want to
wants to
come back with
go
me
back
to
with
America? It was like a
Rob
fucking
to
commercial.
America?
It was like
I
a
don't
commercial.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yo,
I
you know
just
what?
remember-
This,
A
you know what's
mess.
crazy? If this didn't happen to him, we probably would have never seen that because
Yeah.
it was. I've never
Could you
heard
look
of it,
up,
never
Ricky,
seen
look
it.
up what year that was?
And
Because I remember
as soon as he got locked up, that's when
That's
I
been
saw
all
that.
over TikTok. I think it's like a trending sound on TikTok now too.
I just remember he had that concert. This was towards the end when he was on his like grown woman auntie catering towards the auntie stage where he was on stage and he was like saying things, and whenever he would say, the woman would do it like, oh, well, pat my sweat, keep wiping it, baby. I was like,
Oh,
I was like,
Pat my sweat.
yo,
And the
my
dumbass
wife
aunties up
in
there
it.
doing it.
yeah, and like you just said, some auntie was up there doing it like it was her a Lord and Savior. Like,
Oh
A
my
mess.
gosh.
It's giving pick me.
and I said to myself, when people show you who they are, you have to believe them. And he said that, and I was like, and remember he was on that one interview, and I think it was Torre was from Rolling Stone said, oh, there's you have a thing for underage women, and he said, well, what age is underage? I was
Yep.
like, well, here.
No, his words were, well, how young we talking?
A
I
mess.
said, well, then that
And
already
that-
lets me know.
And that took me back.
11, by the way.
Also, that was late in the game that he was
And
asking
that
people
took
in
me
Africa
when he said
about-
that soon as I heard him say that, it took me right back to the Penn State Sandusky thing. And because I remember them asking him a similar question on national television, and they was like, they asked him something like, well, do you like little boys or something like that?
No.
And he, with a big smile on, he was like, I love all children. I was like, wrong answer. Like, damn, you that sick that you that sick that was the answer you gave when somebody asked you, do you like boys? You gonna say you like all children. I said that's crazy.
Well,
and,
again,
and that's like somebody being up there for messing with young girls, and they ask you, "Do you like young girls?" And you say, "Well, how young we talking?" Like, the answer that ain't it.
that's not a good
That's
answer.
not the answer. Like, they can't even lie. They so like that. That's crazy.
That's worrisome to me.
Is it
That's
disgusting?
worrisome. So again, with Diddy, it's like he showed us this for many years. He showed us this for a great many years, and I'm not surprised that all this is happening right now. I don't know what's gonna happen to him. I don't know. So are we? So is his music? Are we listening to his music, or he's done too? Do we put him?
You
do we
know
throw
what's
him in
so
the bin
funny?
with
That's
R.
the
Kelly?
first- I don't think I have listened. Now
I
that you
was
say it,
I was gonna say, like,
I haven't even like.
I could think of one song that I like of with Puff Daddy on.
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so
like-
but all the bad boy artists are good, like Biggie, Mace, all the like.
Well, they gotta get their money somehow from because they damn sure ain't gonna get it from him, so they gotta get it to us.
So if we
Get it
listen to
from
More
us
Money,
streaming.
More Problems, we're still doing that. He's all over that.
Pause.
All right. No, but we're good. We're good. We're good
More
on
money, more
listening.
problems is Mace and Biggie.
Yeah, but he's got the ad libs and he's all in the videos.
Yeah, but
dancing,
okay.
like Suge Knight said.
I mean, he plays such an
Suge
unmajor
Knight doesn't
role
be saying
in
a
his
damn
stuff.
thing. Suge Knight need to be silent.
All right.
Like
well,
he's the first person in the history to have a podcast from jail. Suge Knight needs to be silent.
He got the jail cast.
Right.
you know what? I kind of feel like he might be an
Trademark
intern.
that.
That's not bad. Like, I don't know.
He has a real podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really in a. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, Sugar's another guy. I can't.
Listen, I don't know. I always say like people don't really feel it until it hurts them in their pockets. Like you hit them in their pockets where it really hurts. So, what way are we gonna hit him in his pockets other than through his music or through Yeezy or whatever? I don't know. Does he still have an apparel brand now?
Yeah,
Does he still do Adidas?
Yeah.
Oh, he
Well,
does.
not with
but
Adidas,
not
but
through Adidas.
Yeah, he
Okay.
has his own that whole thing that he made all that money with that cell phone Super Bowl commercial that he
Yeah.
did.
Oh, yes. And that was genius to me because I think they said he only showed it in certain states. Like he kind of niched down. Yeah, it wasn't a Super Bowl ad. Like not all states got the ad. He niched down.
It was targeted.
And it was a very targeted audience. They said it did really well. But yeah.
And now every time I look on my phone, is one of the ads that yay.com. All that stuff is still up there.
You know what? Now that you think, yes, on TikTok, I did see an ad.
And what's dope about it is if you order something, right? Since the Super Bowl when it came out, people are just starting to get their stuff. So what he's doing is he's taking pre-orders and he's using the money that's getting sent to him, and he's letting time go by, and he's creating a product. So he doesn't even have to come out of his own pocket. There's no inventory really. That junk is almost made to order. Sort of like the Saya sneaker brand.
Really?
Or the Mach sneakers. Like I've ordered sneakers from Mach and from Saya Collective, and those are independent sneaker companies. So what they do is they'll make a release, they'll drop something like on a Friday at 12 in the afternoon, and you'll have like 48 hours, and they'll just take as many orders as they get in 48 hours for the shoe. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the shoes will come with, there'll be apparel as well. So they'll have this site opened up and making it limited, making people want it more, making them go right to it, right? Sneakers are like $230, $250. You got 48 hours, and then after that, boom, it's closed. So now, in their website, which people have a lot of times don't even read it, they let you know that everything is, made in detail to order. So you order the sneaker today, you might not get the sneaker for 3 months because now it has to go into production. So these guys are killing the game because they don't really have an overhead. They're not having to come out of their pockets. They're using your money to make your sneaker.
Yep. And I can speak to that a little bit because we don't hold any inventory. So we're made to order as well. So we keep our supplies, but I think that's to our benefit because it allows us to be first to market with a lot of different products. So when something is trending, we can get out a product tomorrow. Whereas our competitors, they have to go overseas, and by the time they get it from China, it's on the water. That's like 6 months to a year, and now the trend has passed, and we've already. So yeah, you can get it and sell it for less than us because you got it from China, but the trend is already gone. So yeah, but I agree. I think especially now with how hard it is for small business. Not saying Kanye is experiencing any of that, but especially now, I think like a lot of people are moving away from holding inventory and doing more of the drops and pre-orders and all of that.
Yeah, because if your clientele, your fan base really likes your stuff, they're gonna be cool with waiting anyway. Like once I started ordering certain shoes and I learned that science, it was like, okay, now I don't even think about it. Like I already know I'm not getting my shoes for a quarter a year. You know what I'm saying?
People love exclusivity.
Absolutely.
People love exclusivity, and people love one of one. People love made to order because it makes them feel special as a consumer. Like this is designed especially for me. Like it's a flex in so many words. So I didn't know about that. Like you're 100% now. You're in stores though?
Yeah, so that stuff obviously is not made to order, but
okay,
like
but the custom stuff is specially hand done. Like, and you're doing internships now. You're taking applications for interns now.
We have a summer internship program, so we'll have 4 interns.
What does that entail?
This summer, so we have an e-commerce internship, a graphic design internship. That's why I was at Monmouth University today and interviewing. What else? So I say graphic design, e-commerce, content creation, and then I'm missing something. Oh, like a business development sales role.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you plan to have all these filled for the summer?
Oh, they have to be. Yeah. So we got a grant from the state of New Jersey, the Office of Higher Education. So we received a grant to hire 4 interns from New Jersey state colleges and universities. So we have to hire, there's like timelines that we have to hire them by, then to get the grant money, because kids are out of school, I think
Soon.
like May, like the beginning of May, like they'll be out. So yeah, we'll be starting in May.
See, that's something that the public doesn't know about when they see, like, they just see the Instagram and they see all that. What
They
would
don't
you
see what goes into it.
what would you say now that you're deep in this, your second endeavor, that it's taken off? What would you say is a common misconception that you wish you could just, get a bullhorn
Oh my gosh.
and be like, hey, business,
So
small
many.
business owners, blank.
First of all, I feel like we're moving away from it now, but there was a time, maybe like even as pre-COVID or like beginning of COVID, like we were all in the stage of glorifying entrepreneurship. Everybody's a boss. Oh, I'm a boss. I just sold this much and I have my Birkin bag and my whatever. And it's like, okay, yes, some days you will have that. Like when it's great, it's amazing. But then sometimes shit is really hard. Like a lot of times it's really hard. Like when you're slow, like listen, I can't tell you how many times I've been wanting to look for a job. Like, can you hire me, please? Because this shit is tough. So like,
It's
think
not
that
as glamorous as
no, absolutely not. And I really want people to understand, like, please don't listen to these Instagram bosses. Like, please don't listen to these Instagram coaches.
What part of it though?
So, for example, I listen to probably about like 50 business podcasts a week. Like I eat, sleep, and breathe podcasts. So we listen to them all day at work. That's how I learn.
I hope you'll be listening to the Ransom Report.
Yes, absolutely. Because I don't
okay.
really have time to read that much anymore. So I consume my learning and through audio.
Okay.
So, so I listen to, whenever I want to learn about a topic, I immerse myself in it. Like I become addicted. So when I wanted to get really good at Etsy, I immerse myself in Etsy. When I want to get really good at Amazon, I immerse myself in Amazon. And so many of these gurus are like, oh yeah, let me tell you how I made $1 million a day in sales, but don't tell you that they spent $900,000 on ads to get that, you know?
So what's the net of that?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, or even like some of these coaches, which yes, it's cool, but I always question sometimes like these coaches, like, okay, well, if you were so great, then why aren't you still doing what you're doing? Did you have an exit? Because like if you exited your business, great, you sold, cool. But like if this was something that you were so amazing at, what happened, right? And I don't know, I just think like we're just in the age of glorifying entrepreneurship, and I want people to really be very careful, like to who they're listening to, and do your own research.
People see the glamour of things.
Because that's what people want to see too. Like I think people go to social media for an escape, right? You don't want to see somebody doing as bad as you.
True.
You know, you want to go for an escape and see people doing better, giving you something to aspire to, which is amazing. But I just follow some people that it's like, oh, it's always great and it's this and it's that. Like, yes, and that could be true for some, but I think there's a rate of like 50% of small businesses fail in the first like 5. There's some like crazy statistic that I've read about before. Like there's a very high number of small business owners that fail like within like the first 5 years or so. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. It's almost like restaurants.
There's a saying that says there's riches and niches. Like you have to niche down tight. And once I learned that in business, like everything really started to take, like, follow the money, focus on what is working and build from there. So don't only go on like your opinion of what you think, like listen to your customers and what they want. But yeah, you have to niche down.
This is true. And I say that all of the time. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what business you're in. There's a million other people trying to do it. So you have to figure out what's going to make me stand out. Where am I going to find my line of success to be able to not only compete, but to be able to thrive at the top?
What do you think makes you stand out in the barbershop industry or like this business?
Well, the main thing that I felt made me stand out when we first opened was the fact that we had a booking system. That
you guys were early on that.
There was not a lot of people. You figure we've been here in September, it'll be 10 years.
Okay.
And we brought that idea from Perth Amboy when I helped my cousin open his shop out there. And the one thing that he introduced me into in my own world of barbering was Vagaro. And that was a booking software suite.
What's it called?
Vagaro.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. Okay.
It's one of the first ones. Now you got like Booksy and all this other stuff. But Vagaro was really one of the first ones. Like I said, I've been using Vagaro for 12 years. You know what I mean? And it was more tailored towards hair salons. But the good thing about it that you're able to go in there, create change, you know, and it's really dope. And that was the one thing that set us apart from everybody, because I don't know now one barbershop around here that was doing that before we were doing it. And that also takes me back to where I was saying that you have to know how to take a calculated risk, but you got to be hard on the calculated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is first of all, if I didn't come here with a clientele, we probably wouldn't have survived. If I'd have just came here and opened up a barbershop and I didn't have a following that was willing to come where I was at. So I made sure that I got out of my town, but I want to stay close enough that it wouldn't be hard for the people to get to me. And that's what allowed me to survive and now grow into something way larger.
Right.
I already knew that I could do it without one new customer.
Right. That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So that was the calculated part of my risk, and the booking is what separated us. So now you have to look for different things, you know, because everybody has, you know, online booking now.
Oh, yeah.
But
So are you priced competitively with other barbershops in the area, or are you priced higher, lower?
you want to know the truth? I don't even know.
Okay.
Because I set my prices according to what
Yep.
I
So what
feel
they
I'm
need to
worth.
be. Yep.
I think
I have no clue.
I mean, what we're gonna say what the kids say, like you stood on business with with your
Sounded like
business
a grandpa.
model. So I gotta embrace my age.
We
age.
have a graduation banner that says "I stood on business" or like "I'm standing on business" or something.
I might
like
have
that, yeah.
to. Maybe that's how I'll support.
For the MBAs.
But I just kind of you had to go through the growing pains and kind of like stand through that in order to send a message that we're moving this business forward. Same thing with you. I'm sure you've taken stances on things. Was there a time that you can remember, like, listen, I'm taking a stance on this. I feel strongly about this, so I'm going to implement this into my business?
Like one of our most popular products right now is like twerk faces. So we put people's faces on the twerkers. And initially I never even thought to have a disclaimer about children. Like I just did not think that
Yeah.
people would ever send us children to put on. Okay, so we do twerk party supplies. So like banners that have twerkers. I wish we had like pictures, but like banners that have twerkers. Like, you know, like when you go to a
So
you've
it's
never
banners of people turned around twerking.
Yes.
Okay.
So like, for example, and really it was meant to take the place of like women when they have bachelorette parties, typically there's like penis decor. Like they have like penis straws and all types of like penis balloons and stuff. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and we did the twerkers instead, and it just took off. So now we put people's faces on them. So you can get a twerk banner with your face so it looks like you're twerking, and we also do it on the cupcake toppers. So people started sending us children's photos for things like that. And I was just kind of like, initially I was like, hey, like, you know, we can't do children, send a different photo. Most people for the most part are like very understanding, but we get a few, and when we do get them, like they really fight me. Like they're like, oh, one lady was like, I wasn't being gross. I thought that these were Fortnite dancers. And I said, miss, I don't have no children, but I can guarantee you that this does not look like Fortnite.
Yeah.
So like that's something that I really had to stand on business about, is not putting children's faces on. Because why the hell
So they sending
would you
you
want to see
random children?
no, like it's either like
No,
their
no.
child.
No, their
So
child.
like say like if their child is turning 10
Right.
and they want to get it for their birthday, they'll put 10 and then send their child's picture. Or sometimes it's them as a child. So maybe they're turning 30 and they send themselves as a child, which is cool, right? Like, because you're now grown. But my thing is that when people see that photo on social media, it's going to go viral, and they're just going to say, where did you get that from? It's going to look like a child's face on a twerk, and they're not going to care that it was you as a child. So that's something that we really stand firmly on. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always thinking, can this get canceled? Can we get canceled for this? Can this go viral for the wrong reasons? Like always thinking ahead.
I was getting a haircut earlier today, and I told Roberto that in order to be a great podcast host, you got to be a great listener. Most people think it's like, oh, you got to know how to talk and have a conversation. That's the second part. The first part is to be a good listener, but what's to go with that is to listen to outside noise too. To your point, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I don't want to come off sounding too middle of the road. I want to be ambiguous, but not at the expense of. I want to sound ambiguous, but not be ambiguous. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to make, like, I agree with everything. I want to have stances, but I want to hear everything, and I want to listen.
Oh,
Not-
I ain't listening to nobody
but
about that. We
at
ain't
the
putting
ex-
no child's face on no damn twerker.
No. Again, when you said that,
I don't listen to
no, you
nobody.
stood on business. I mean, that's academic because the fact that that's even a conversation is an issue unto itself. So you should have. And that just, when I hear stories like this, honestly, Curie, you know what it makes me think of? Like,
What?
we need to worry about who's having children nowadays. Like, we need to really worry about who's having children because I don't blame the kids. I blame the parents.
Oh, absolutely.
Whenever I see kids acting up, I don't blame
Yep.
them. I blame the parents. Just like I say, like bad behavior is learned, racism is learned, all that stuff is learned behavior.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Curie, we're gonna cut here,
Okay.
but we'd love to have you back
Of
on again.
course. Yeah, I'd love to be here. This was great. It was a great conversation. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me.
How can people find you on social media?
So we are at Nina Lem's Party. That's NINALEMS Party across all socials.
Okay. And to the young entrepreneurs, specifically female of any color, what would you like to say to them now that you're on the other side? What would you like to say?
Fuck them people. And what I mean by that is stay the course. Don't listen to anybody. I always say, like, don't take advice from people who've never gone where you're trying to go or never done what you're trying to do. And I think a lot of people think small and they've maybe failed at things, so they expect for you to think that way and to think small and to fail at whatever they try to do. So I think just go for it. You have to do it scared. Do it scared, do it afraid, do it unapologetic, but just do it.
Thank you all for listening to the Ransom Report. Sheik, what happened to peace?
Peace.
We out.
Oh, that was awesome.
This program is brought to you by the good folks at What's the Movement, LLC.